Can we just record a video and upload it for now, please? Instead of trying to, because.
Oh, wait, here we go. Oh, wait, it was on the whole time? Oh, it's been going. Look at that. I think. Let's see. Oh, yeah. There you go. It's for 20 seconds.
It's great.
All right. I could edit that.
It's literally one of those mornings where, like, if it were just up to me, I would have bailed 25 minutes ago. What time is it? We've been at this for 30 minutes trying to get this to go. So
trying to get technology together.
Man, damn, it's
we had boundary issues with our technology.
It was crazy. And then I'm like, oh, I'm not feeling it. I'm not, want to be creative, want to come live, want to feel it. And then I'm like, okay, well, it's not about me. It's about delivering the message today.
Mm-hmm.
So let's come on. All right, let's get over ourselves. Let's make it happen. So here we are.
Yeah.
Hi. And we're continuing our conversation this week. If you're new around here, hi, welcome home. It's Dug and Heidi McGurk, inventors of the RAIN recovery method, a brand new way to think about recovery from any and all addictions, not just the heavy, hard shit stuff, but all things, because
kid friendly.
Really what we are is, if we're not where we want to be in our lives, if we don't have the relationships that we want, we don't have the success we want. It's not that anybody is smarter than you, better than you, deserves more than you, is luckier than you. All it means is that you are running a pattern that obstructs your ability to have the thing that you most desperately want.
And it's very likely a pattern that you are aware of, but not necessarily aware of how you could do something about it. You may say things like, oh, if only, or if, I knew I should have done something. Maybe hindsight is your superpower.
Captain Hindsight.
Yes, when you realize that there are some things in the past that you go, ooh, I wish I'd done things differently. The good news is we have a bright, beautiful future ahead of us.
We do. So I think what I love most about the two of us is our ability to combine superpowers. I think we've made a joke many times when I was manifesting my husband and I was in my journal, and I've been keeping journals my whole entire life. I highly recommend it if you haven't been. But
that's part of our training.
Yeah. So when I wrote, hey, what do I want? What's the husband? What's the ideal? It was really a partner to conquer the world with, to do seminars and retreats and travel around and speak and do all the things. And we're here and we've manifested that. And we always joke around about Wonder Twin powers activate, but you have to know as a couple what your strengths are and what each of you bring to the table. And although we both have a little bit of everything in us, I really think that my superpower is being able to help people recognize patterns and see patterns in themselves that they have never seen before. They're like, holy cow, my whole life makes sense now. And I love that power, but that's, to have that epiphany, because I love epiphanies. Like, wow, here's why you do what you do. Here's why you do what you do. Here's how you do what you do. But we can't stop there. So we need the other half, the yin and the yang, which is Dug is a genius at helping people break the patterns. Because really, ultimately, you can't really talk your way out of a pattern. You have to subconsciously get at the root of it through experiential processes. And if you ever come to one of our retreats, or if you listen to any of Doug's hypnotherapy meditations, sorry, I keep banging that.
No, it's all screwy.
Sorry. Then you know that, Dug is a master at breakthrough. And so while I can help you recognize what's happening, Dug is the one that's going to help you break free from it.
And it's like riding a bicycle. We could have these aha moments, which are brilliant, and we still have to apply it. We have to find a way to integrate it and own it on a cellular level. And that's the trick, isn't it? Because then it becomes other than conscious. Then it becomes your new normal, as opposed to running that old pattern over and over again.
Hi, Pam. Pam said, I love you guys and your advice. As Ellie does this new heart now, what does she do? Can I tell you something, guys, before we start today? We kind of already started, but this is our Sunday Houlihan episode. Okay, this is where we go live and we just connect with you guys. And if you want the serious business content stuff, there are plenty of videos on here that are right down to business. Let's get down to business. No, yeah, I love that song. But Ellie, last night I was getting ready to go out dancing with my friends. Our daughter's 10, and I was all dolled up and had on like this like sexy little dress or whatever. Well, thank you.
What you're doing going out without me.
And so Ellie goes, I was like, hey, she's like, mommy, if you know, I've been blonde my whole life. And I just had a calling from the wild. The wild woman within was like, dye your hair red. And so Ellie goes, I don't really think I'd like this red. I'm not sure about this red, mommy.
I heard a little bit of that.
And I said, well, why not? I said, well, she said, because blonde is just different. And I said, well, show me blonde, because sometimes we can't really explain things, but we can demonstrate it, right? I said, show me blonde. And she walks in and she's, hi, how are you? Great to see you. Hello. Hi. And was like very serious. And I said, okay, show me red. She literally walks in the room and goes,
wow.
This. I said, what does that look like? I look like crazy. I said, what is that supposed to mean? And she was like,
and if you were watching or listening on the podcast,
you're listening to the podcast. Sorry.
She strutted in and slid off one shoulder and give the come hither face.
I was like, oh my God. So I guess red hair to her is like much, much sassier than the blonde.
Yeah.
But we're back talking about boundaries today with you guys. And we're going to be here every Sunday. This is, again, our Houlihan episode. We're just here to shoot the poo and give you some really wonderful advice to help you get further in your life. And last week, we talked about the first step around boundaries. And we had asked you at the end of that episode to do a journal entry for us, if you remember correctly. And if you haven't seen that episode, we will link it in the notes in the description. But we talked about how you cannot set a boundary with somebody for things to change in whatever relationship that you have if you first are not clear about exactly what you're willing to tolerate in your life and what you are absolutely unwilling to settle for or tolerate anymore. And just taking that time with yourself to get really clear on where your standard for yourself is. Last week, we said that boundaries are resolutions set by the soul. Actually, we didn't say that last week. I've said that a couple of times, but boundaries are resolutions set by your soul. It's that deep feeling within, knowing that you are not going to take the same behavior over and over again. But what happens? You make that declaration. You're like, that's it. Maybe it's this weekend. Maybe you're with somebody and you had another thing happen and they betrayed you or rejected you or hurt you in some way. And you woke up again like, man, this has got to be it. But why do people keep getting sucked back in? Patterns.
Yes,
patterns.
It's the same reason why you go into your your cabinet and you go, I am not going to eat that, or you have a box of Oreos and you're like, I am not going to have any more Oreos, and the next thing you know, you're having one Oreo and then another Oreo
and a sleeve.
Yeah, and the next thing you know, and this is the other than conscious patterns that we're running, and that's why it's vital that first we make that decision. What are you no longer going to settle for? What are you no longer going to tolerate? Because you basically get what you tolerate.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Why do people get sucked back in? Why do you think boundaries fail for most people? Where is the breakdown point? Where is the pattern? What is that about? What are the thoughts people tell themselves, or how do people end up, because at the end of the day, Doug, it's really, we think it's other people that are betraying us.
No,
but it's really an act of self-betrayal.
Self-betrayal, yeah. Well, oftentimes there's a number of reasons, obviously, but that's why we cover so many. But one of them is that there's that fear of, either being alone or hurting the person, or, not knowing what's on the other side and worrying too much about the negative on the other side rather than having a clear vision of what it is you want and what you're willing to tolerate. Because this happens all the time. We'll ask someone, what do you want? And they'll say, well, what I don't want is, and there's an element of going back to what you're looking to avoid, because the old example, you're driving your car and you look at the side of the road to look at if you're looking for an address. And that's what you're looking at. And then where does the car go? It goes right towards it. So it's really important for you and I to have a clear vision as to what it is what kind of you actually open with it. The kind of relationship that you wanted. And I did the same thing. So there's.
Yeah. And I think for sure, there's an element of why boundaries fail in my mind is it all boils down to one idea of I'm afraid. And you said it, you said alone, I'm going to end up alone.
I'm going to hurt them.
I'm going to hurt them.
I'm going to be misunderstood. It's going to be.
They're going to take their love away.
Yep.
I think that's it. People know that something needs to change, but you're terrified that if you hold somebody to standard, they're going to be mad at you. They're going to hate you. They're going to never forgive you. They're going to leave you. And some of you are wishing they would leave you. And then you think, well, I'm just going to do what I need to do so they will go. And that'd be a blessing, Heidi. You have no idea. I pray every day they go away. Well, but then they go away and then you go, the fear is, what if they find somebody else? What if I spent all this time with them, fixing them and working with them and staying with them, and then they end up, and somebody else gets all the benefit? And that's a lie. Nobody's getting any benefit. They're getting the same old, honey. Trust me. They're not getting any benefit from that.
Well, and that's the thing. Someone who hasn't gone down that path of doing the work, they end up leaving one relationship, and if they don't do the work, they find themselves in a new relationship with the same person with a different face. Because we just keep running that pattern of attracting or seeking out, or again, looking for things that are really ultimately in our familiar zone. It's not really our comfort zone. It's our familiar zone. It's something that we're used to. And that's a big challenge for someone who's been in some form of dysfunctional, abusive, addicted relationship. There's certain things that you just know. Like you just know how to deal with it. This is familiar. This is something. And then we run that lie. Well, maybe this time it'll be different. I know that relationship and they were doing these things and I'm seeing these flags come up, but they're familiar. And then
I know how to navigate this shit show.
Right. Yeah. And because it's something you're just kind of comfortable. Again, it's not comfortable, but it is in that
comfortable
language.
in a way.
It's
like
familiar.
Dealing with chaos. So many of us who grew up in it with a shit show or something strange. It's just we know how to thrive in chaos. So there's a part of us that is scared to get into a normal relationship because we're like, oh my God, healthy. That's going to be so boring.
Well, and so at first it might seem boring because you're not used to it.
Stability.
Right. And then
stability is so boring.
The gift is at that point is then finding new ways to create excitement.
Isn't that
we want
That's it.
A higher level of, and I don't want to say problem, but let's say challenge, of opportunity, of, like Ellie's a great example. Like, what are we going to do today? I'm bored. Like, okay, well, let's be creative. What can, here's the boundaries of what's going to be acceptable behavior today. And it's huge. Like, there's so many things, and it gives us the opportunity to be creative, to try new things. And
by the way, if you really want the step-by-step, because today we're just having a high level chit chat with you, but if you do want the step-by-step to setting boundaries, we've created during the holidays, we put this whole bundle together for you every year, and it's called the Holiday Survival Toolkit. And what it is every single thing that you can imagine, any question you're going to have, how to deal with the addict or alcoholic or narcissistic person in your life. There's a whole course. There's 4 courses inside of that toolkit.
I think so, yeah.
4 courses. There's a family program, a whole entire
the whole weekend
module. I mean, 12. How many modules are in that? 20 modules of content.
Something like that.
You've got the family program in there. You've got how to set boundaries with an addict and alcoholic inside the toolkit. Plus, you have 2 different meditations in there to help you get to the subconscious level where, Doug's the master hypnotherapist. So where can they find that?
They could find that at holidaysurvivaltoolkit.com.
Now, Doug, I love that voice. Can you just do it one more time?
holidaysurvivaltoolkit.com. Okay, sorry.
Don't be sorry.
You don't have the headphones in to hear. There's a little bit of echo.
I don't need the headphones. It sounds awesome just on its own. I mean, the headphones, yeah, heck yeah. Maybe later you can use a microphone and whisper in my ear. Okay, so anyway, back to the high level conversation about it is when we invented a new recovery method, RAIN Recovery, REIGN. And the concept behind RAIN Recovery is you want to reign over your life. You want to reign in your kingdom. You want to reign in your home. You want to reign, just kind of like the queen of your castle,
The Lord of your lair.
The Lord of your lair. Doug's name in my phone is Lord of Rock. And it's
actually in my phone, because whenever I send that out, when I share my card, that's what it says.
Doug's Lord of Rock. In a former life, Doug was a rock star, and he still is. I mean, but he literally was, making records and making music and things like that. And one of your skill sets, I think, honey, one of your talents in life is that you know how to take anything and make it better. And you are just such a master at that. And sharing our ideas when we came up with Rain Recovery together, it's been such a wonderful journey to put our heads together and say so we had our wedding was an enchanted forest wedding. I know this is going to seem like a side note, but it's not. Trust me. Follow the path. Our wedding was on 4 Weddings. Did you guys ever see that show? When I got married, I'm a DIY girl. So I love, crafting.
Yeah,
crafting. Like you always say, just give me a banana peel.
Yeah.
I just need a banana peel in an envelope.
On a safety pin. You'd be all right.
A safety pin. And so
what else do you need?
I wanted to make our wedding amazing. So I went and I started watching 4 Weddings because you get great ideas, And then all of a sudden they were like, oh, we're casting for 4 Weddings in Miami. And I was like, well, Miami, that's right down the road.
Close, yeah.
Why not? So I just auditioned. I call it audition. We got on the show. If you want to see it, it's called 4 Weddings in a Drum Circle. That's our episode. And the theme was Enchanted Forest. Now I've been drawn to that forever. Like the forest, the mystical, the fairy tales. I believed I love fairy tales, but I did have a time in my life where I forgot how to believe. I forgot how to believe in magic. I had so many experiences at my own hands that, self-sabotage. It was me, like a self-betrayal, self-sabotage, wanting that thing, wanting to say no, set a boundary with what I didn't want anymore in my life, but not really knowing exactly how to make my happily ever after come true. And doing all that work to figure out, man, how do I create that relationship that I do? Are fairy tales real? Like, what if I let myself believe? And that's the ticket. Fairy tales are real if you make them real. I think I even said that at the end of the episode in 4 Weddings. So anyway, we had trees. We brought in like 200 trees and had them lit up. We had ethereal music. We'd walk down the aisle. Doug walked down the aisle to some kind of like king, like warrior music. Like it was so intense. And I'm like ethereal music walking down. It was amazing. And so
we actually had a magician.
Roaming
magician.
We had a drum circle at our wedding. That's why it's called 4 Weddings in a Drum Circle. But anyway, we just had the best time. And coming back to that, well, what do you really want? What do you want? You want your happily even after, right?
And even when we do coaching, I don't know how you've used this question, but one of the questions I often ask a client, I'll say, if you had a magic wand,
right?
If you had a magic wand,
right.
How would you design your life? What
because
would that look like?
Because we do have the magic wand. The magic wand, everybody saw The Secret all those years ago and got like really excited. Oh my God, I'm going to do law of attraction. And then they try it and then they go, this sucks. This doesn't work because there's missing all of the ingredients. If you're going to be a magician, it's like baking. I mean, you need to know the proper ingredients. And
also baking or cooking does take some time.
Right. It's all you're going to instantly manifest the thing that you're looking for.
We haven't hit Christ's level of manifestation
yet. Well, that's the ultimate, right? Because Christ was the ultimate example of living the law of attraction. I am God and God is you and we are one and I can make things happen. He had no doubt in his mind. Too, Jesus had no doubt in his mind that he had all the superpowers available to him. And so that's why he was able to do it. It's so hard to obtain that level of belief because we have trust issues. We have massive trust issues. So, I think that when you're creating magic, Doug and I have dedicated our whole lives to knowing what the formula is for magic. And we've studied all those things. And for me, the science of the mind was one of where the law of attraction was kind of based out of. Ernest Holmes is the founder of that science of the mind. And applying that to recovery, it's such a different mindset for people to claim you're healthy, whole, well, to have a radically different approach.
Well, and that's the thing too. There's a weird thing of wanting wanting the instant gratification and wanting your cake and eating it too. And the dance with all of that is having to slow down and create that vision and like the saying, like, celebrate what works and add what's missing. Some of those things that you think that
And
you
cut
want.
away what's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
working.
Well, that was where it's going, is that some of the things that we think we enjoy or want are the things that are actually holding us back. We've got to get rid of those. We've got to cut away those old patterns.
Like the chaos. We think, well, I like the chaos. I like the drama. I like the whatever, but the chaos is killing you. The drama is killing you. And I just had a throat burp or something came out of my mouth.
Well, no one heard that until now.
Sexy morning. Good morning. So when we founded or invented Rain Recovery together, two of our big emblems are, we have a sword, because our goal is to like cut away everything that's not working and cut at the truth right to the center.
That's
and we
part
also,
of your spiritual armor.
That's your spiritual armor. And then we use a sword. And the sword, or on the magical tree, the enchanted tree in the forest, is the tree of transformation. And in the tree of transformation are the roots. And the roots are the reasons we stay stuck. And we're just going to talk about one of those roots today, of why you keep going back on your boundaries with addiction, and why you keep letting bad people come back in your life and get sucked back in. And I just want to say the word, and then you can riff and jam and jazz. Mm-hmm. It's worthiness is one of the roots of what keeps us stuck, because you're worthy. You have everything, like that root of worthiness. You have everything you need to produce great fruit in your life. But if you're not producing great fruit, all that means is that the worthiness root is blocked. You've got a kink in the hose. You know what I mean? And the what do we want to say? The channel.
Well, the
root to the fruit. Would that be a channel?
Whatever's flowing up there, sure.
Yeah, you've got a kink in the channel. You kinky thing, you. And we need to
That was kinky in a good way?
Yeah. No, it's kinky in a bad way.
That's a bad way.
It's a
bad,
bad,
just making sure.
Kinkertown, yeah. So I think that, learning how to clear the channel and say, well, yeah, I say I want these things over and over again. I say I want to have a beautiful relationship. I say I want to have a healthy relationship. I say I want to have a magical life. I say I want to have a happily ever after. Why is it not happening? And there are 6 roots as a reason in our methodology, and worthiness is one of them. So,
and the other thing, the roots you don't see, right? And that's the thing we were talking about earlier about the other than conscious. We don't see the roots, and those are what feed the fruits. So if we're looking at our life and we're like, oh man, like I don't have all this great stuff, I don't have all these great fruits in my life, it's because we have not been nurturing, taking care of our roots.
Can I just say something? I'm reading these comments. I'm reading these comments, and I look down, and all I see, in a relationship with the dick so long. Well, and I'm like, what am I reading right now? And then I had to scroll. What is this?
Well, I don't know who that was. Hold on.
Sorry, I just read too fast. Yeah. Okay, go down. Somebody said in a relationship with a dick too long. I was like, oh my God. Why? Here you go. Is there ever a dick too long?
My last couple of girlfriends told me they can't believe they stayed with a relationship with a dick so long.
Alex. I was like,
Yeah.
Well, why was that a problem?
It's not a problem for...
But yeah, your point is, why are they in a relationship with a dick so long? Not in a good way. because their worth is one of the roots. I mean, there are 6 roots, the deep 6. The deep 6. Why they buried people 6 feet under? Because that was like deep enough, right? So it's what's 6 feet under. And the roots, the deep 6 are those things that are 6 feet under. So we want to not uproot the worthiness, but we want to clear, because you want that root of worthiness. You need to have that root of like Jesus roots.
Well,
right?
Yeah.
I know what I'm worth. Could you have a Jesus root? If you had a Jesus root, what would you tolerate? Oh, I would just sacrifice. Jesus did not tolerate stuff, by the way. Okay, he came in and wrecked stuff. He was a rebel. He came in, he flipped tables. He told people about themselves. He said, everything you think is wrong. He wasn't afraid to rock the boat. He wasn't afraid to make some changes. And teach total opposite of what people were saying. And so, and in that vein, we want to do the same thing. We want to say, well, there's a new way to look at addiction and relationships. There's a new way to look at recovery. And we just hope that every week we want to come on here and just riff with you and talk with you about this new idea. We really believe that this methodology, the REIGN methodology, is exactly what the world needs. It's, we worked in treatment for so long, in traditional treatment. We were inside of a treatment center for 10 years, day in and day out. And we brought the otherness. We brought all of this methodology to the treatment center as a test ground to see, well, does this stuff work? I mean, it applies to every other area of your life. Will it work here? And sure enough, it did for the people who took it on, grasped it,
right,
and wrote it home.
And even to that point, one of the things that we ran into at times is there are some old patterns and we're not saying, so if an old pattern is working for you, like as an example, one of the things that we would ask would flew in the face of AA. One of the things is that identity. And while we're not going to get into that whole concept
That's
now,
another root.
it's another root.
Identity is another root.
But this is where it would kind of fall into we would argue with, because if someone would say, I'm an addict, that's an identity, not a behavior. The addiction is a result,
a coping mechanism.
It's a coping mechanism. It's a result of patterns. It's a new pattern or habit that can be changed. So what we would get is some pushback. And here's what we're saying. If you're working in AA program, someone is, and it's working for them, celebrate what works, add what's missing. So that we could be the X factor to add what's missing, and then cut away still what's not working, because the challenge is
one size doesn't fit all.
Right.
You're one of a kind.
Yeah.
I'm one of a kind. You're one of a kind. You're one of a kind. Your loved ones are one of a kind. And by the way, when we say all this about recovery, you're like, yeah, my addict asshole needs to get into, this person needs to get in recovery. This is recovery for you. Right. This isn't recovery for them. It's recovery for them and for you, because you also are recovering from your addiction to them. We talk a lot about codependency and what is codependency. Codependency is an addiction to a behavior in a relationship that is making you miserable. That's what codependency is. It's like, I behave in a way and you're addicted to that pattern. You are addicted to oh, no, I'm not addicted. I hate it. I don't love it. Well, people that do heroin hate it too. Sometimes they do. People who drink too much hate it too. People who do drugs hate it too. People who kept letting their relationships crumble over and over and hate it too. People who self-sabotage hate it too. And it's all the same. Mm-hmm. It's all the same. So we found a universal global system that will change your life no matter what phase you're in of addiction. And addiction is a reframe into a habit that is hurting you. Addiction is like a spectrum. Habits are a spectrum. We all have habits, and there's the light and the dark. And if what you're doing, whatever you're ingesting, whatever you're doing, if you're shopping, you're eating, you're doing personal development, you're running, you're taking pills, you're medicating, you're drinking, you're whatever you're doing, there's a spectrum of that behavior. Drugs or alcohol are neither good nor bad. Behaviors are neither good nor bad. But what makes them good or bad is your intention behind them and how it affects the people around you.
Right. What kind of results
and
are they
that's
providing?
Very simple.
Yeah.
If I'm using this substance, does that help my relationship and connection with people? Does that deepen that connection, or does it hurt it?
Well, and from that point too, that's where it's really valuable to get into some conversation around it, because it is possible sometimes that you may think it's enhancing it,
and other people are like, actually, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
It's not enhancing it at all. Actually, you're doing this thing because you think it's going to make me... You know what, too? I do think that most people are using substances to have some kind of a connection with their higher power, with some kind of spiritual connection. Mm-hmm. And it's like impossible for them to connect spiritually until they get out of their own way. And what's great about that is you're craving that. If you're using substances to kind of get to that point, is that you're a sensitive person. You want to have these amazing, miraculous God moments in your life, but you don't know how to allow that unless you're under the influence. And that's an allowing issue. That is also a worthiness or something in you that needs to be healed so that you can deepen your trust. Right now you're just trusting the drug to get you to where you want to be. But there's a whole lot of other things that you could trust. I trust drugs to take away that pain. I trust drugs to get me to be socially cool. I trust alcohol to lubricate me in all ways. I trust whatever. But okay, well, could you trust something else? Could you learn to trust something else? Could you learn to trust yourself? Trust is another root in our RAIN methodology. We should just be sharing these every week from now on, just unveiling the RAIN methodology for you guys. Okay, so Alex said we had to make it a little funny, trying to see if you're going to crack up. I love to crack up. Laughing is my favorite thing. I know I seem very serious, but if I want to laugh so hard I almost pee. I want to have to cross my legs and laugh. I want tears to roll down my face. That is my joy and bliss. So thank you for doing that, Alex. Thanks for providing that this morning. What did Pam say?
The trauma bond. I've now been diagnosed with PTSD due to his addiction. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? That requires healing, Pam. And people who are addicts and alcoholics or people that are dysfunctional are like, man, I'm just affecting myself. Nobody else is affected. It's just me. Leave me alone. It's my life. You're not being bothered. But it's like addiction is like you throw it. And yet I'm coming back. Yeah. Addiction is like you throw a pebble in a pond and it just ripples out and affects everybody.
Yeah.
Sorry, did you lose it? Are you in perimenopause too?
No. I just that idea of it's that unawareness that we were talking about, the pond, like they're not aware, so they will behave in a certain way. They'll say that's the end yet. So they'll say, it doesn't affect you, it doesn't, and then when you say it affects you, then they get mad at you for holding them to task.
Then they're like, well, you're making me want to use because you're saying you're in pain.
Yeah. Which is it?
Yeah.
So that's why that's where we help you with that, so you can understand what's going on, what each role plays, and you can't control what someone else does. You can have some influence, of course, but the most important person that we must deal with is ourselves.
That's it.
And if you're dealing with someone and again, this isn't just about substances. And by the way, this is also, it's not just familial, our work family. We have small businesses, and that your small business, whether it's 10 employees, 100 employees, or where you get to know everybody, it's a dysfunctional family, and they have their own addictions. They have
we all have our own dysfunctional family that we need to rectify. Yeah,
we have the addiction to the water cooler conversation. So it's so much more around this, that the gift that we can provide anybody is taking care of ourselves so that we can take care of our family, so that we can take care of our business.
That's so great, Doug. I'm working on a piece of art right now where I'm and I suck. I'm not good at all, but I enjoy making, give me an envelope and a stamp and I'll create something. So I'm going to make an image of the tree. I'm going to paint it. And then we're going to put it up behind so that every week we're able just to talk about one of those roots. And in the meantime, RAIN Recovery and the course, the ability to be able to join us is going to be launched in the new year. So this is, heading up until January. But until then, right now we have a course that has all the information that you need. And it is called what are you doing, baby?
Holiday Survival Toolkit.
Yes. What are you doing over there? Oh, the Holiday Survival Toolkit. And you can find that at theholidaysurvivaltoolkit.com. Look how green my eyes are today. Guys, I do want to tell you that I've been wearing these contacts, for a million years. And I love that view.
See?
And I finally I look so much better in that view because you can't really see all my face stuff. Okay. I forgot what I was going to say because I like that change. Yes. Toolkit. Right now, you can get the Holiday Survival Toolkit. So go to theholidaysurvivaltoolkit.com. And in January, we are moving and merging into the RAIN recovery method invented by Dug and Heidi. And we're very excited to unveil that to you and release it. By the way, my eyes, I have no contacts in today. They're green. And I never knew that. My whole life, I thought my eyes were blue. and they're green. Isn't that crazy?
So if you're on the podcast,
they're green. They're like gray blue, but they're green.
Mine too.
Okay, we love you. We think that's enough Holy Hannon for today. We're going to go now grocery shop for the week, take care of the baby, the bird, take her around, Holy Hannon. And
so if you have any questions, thoughts, comments, ideas, if you're on a replay, please comment, please share, please spread the vision here. So our goal is that people are enjoying life more fulfilled, suffering less, overcoming
Guys, this is it. This is our life.
Yeah.
Shouldn't you be full of joy? Shouldn't you have the best time ever? I think so.
Yeah, I would agree.
Okay, let's go have the best time ever.
All right.
I'm already having the best time with you ever.
Yeah.
Right now.
Oh, thank you.
This is the best time ever. Living the dream, baby.
Yeah. We love you for who you are and who you aren't. And please like, share, Holiday Survival Toolkit.com for more on that. And we look forward to seeing you next week and other times during the week, as we add some stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
God
bless.
You guys. Bye.